Not only is society a form of repression against our talents, skills, abilities, knowledge, intelligence, character, but it literally is also suppression and oppression towards all authentic self distinction and basically our realization of goals, actualization of ambitions, and from achieving and exercising self knowledge, self respect, self distinction, self sufficiency, because all those qualities are not only difficult to attain, to accomplish, to exercise, but also these are very dangerous, threatening qualities that threaten the very existence of this circus called society, which will inevitably collapse anyways in one way or another. Not because the people are bad, but because that many people will not be necessarily able to stay at the same time, at the same place, without distinction, without merit, without employment, opportunity, justice, equality, rights, and their concerns and needs are being heard. So that is the thing. So the government remains to be corrupt, and society is the epitome of bias because where there are so many people at the same time alongside the governance of some cruel people and outside tyrannies and oppressive people and malevolent, malicious entities, then obviously bias, partiality, corruption, and unnecessary hatred, unconscious behavior partially becomes inevitable and impossible to avoid for the people, even if they are not evil, even if they don't want to be evil or do any harm or wrong to anyone. Still, ultimately, they'll be converted or turned into evil, unconscious, corrupt, biased, partial human beings, at least in slight or major ways in one word, not because they gave in to that evil or they wanted to become all that, but because they cannot escape the influence of being inside of society, because they cannot influence the power of all the organizations, institutions, and governments and ideologies to which they are subjected and by which they are constantly governed and ruled and enslaved and subjugated in one way or another. Because when the lies are told over and over and over again, when lies, corruption, partiality, unnecessary content, and ideology repeats itself from all the governmental entities and other bodies, then ultimately we start believing in those lies and deceit and shortcoming and weakness and exploitation in one way or another, even though we're knowledgeable, wise, intelligent, or educated, but that helps little. But ultimately, we're governed by the trends of the society, by the bias of any kind, even if it's absurd, unreasonable, insensible, but still we cannot control ourselves from